This is now an average school day for children forced to flee their homes. They've come from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where rebels have rained terror on their communities. Here in Rwanda, they have safety, but little else.
This place is severely underfunded and they're doing so much with so little.
Paper instead of chalkboards, and song instead of writing. An effort to instill some normalcy in these young lives now changed forever. The UN refugee appeal for Rwanda was only 38% funded this year, as an average of 1,200 new refugees arrive from the DRC every month. Tensions are soaring between the two governments, and Rwanda stands accused of funding M23 rebels and destabilizing the region.
So many of these children have fled targeted ethnic violence in the DRC with their families, and this isn't even the permanent refugee camp where they'll live. This is just the transit center for those who've recently arrived.
Mutwerutwe recently fled her home under a rain of bombs and bullets. She says the Mai Mai rebel group suddenly attacked their village and forced her family to leave with nothing. They didn't have money for transport, so they hid in the forest and slowly made their way here. Angelique arrived earlier in the year with her children. Her husband was killed as they fled. She says they were told by rebels that as Tutsis they would be targeted until they left. Now her body aches from months of sleeping on the hard floor. There isn't enough money for mattresses, sanitary pads, or even soap. And the thousands of people here are barely fed enough to stay healthy.
We've seen a lot of children here, and some are very young. Is this nutritious enough for them?
It's not nutritious enough for children, but this is only what we have for now.
Before July, rice and vegetables were served 3 times a week. Now this mix of corn and beans is all that can be made.
Funding cuts started in July. We can't tell why, but we saw a very big reduction in funding cuts. This is what led us here, that we can no longer provide what we used to provide before.
But even as the money dries up, people keep arriving. Arianne's just got here a week ago. She hasn't seen her husband since they escaped. She says rebels stripped her naked and took her phone and belongings. Behind her, 2 young mothers soothed their new babies. Both of them fled while pregnant and gave birth here. Their husbands are nowhere to be found. A decades-old conflict has entered a new era, but with little funds and global attention elsewhere, the suffering feels worse than ever before. Yousra Elbagir, Sky News, Rwanda.